for me. And I think that's the reason why England, take this experience from them, whether they win the Euros or get the final, that means they're improving. And next year, when they come November, December, when they play in there, they'll be at the peak fitnesses. They've had the experience, and I think they could go a long way in the World Cup as well.
Well, here at bookmakers.co.uk, we always say deep into a major international tournament, it's always good to be able to summon experience. And that's what we've got on the line today. Once again, we're lucky to be able to call upon and welcome Mr. Ian Rush. Hi, Ian.
Hi.
First and foremost, I think you're pretty much wearing it already because that's a fairly vivid red you're wearing. Put on your Wales scarf, put on your Wales shirt. All right, the manner of defeat maybe wasn't quite what everybody envisaged against Denmark in the end. However, it was brave. It was, as an overall effort from your old team, admirable. I think they made a lot of friends. They impressed people. How would you sum up their campaign overall?
Yeah, I thought they done well. I thought the team spirit was excellent. And when you look at it now, Denmark are a good side. I think the first 20 minutes of games, Wales were the better team. And if maybe Gareth Bale would have scored that goal, it might have changed the game. And they went down 20 minutes later, and your man scored exactly the same goal with his right foot. And I think the killer goal was 3 minutes into the second half when Denmark scored the second goal. It absolutely killed Wales off, in fairness. And when you look at it, Denmark could have scored more goals because they got the confidence and everything. But effort-wise, for Wales, 100%, they've done what they've been asked to do. And hopefully they'll learn from the experience. There's a lot of young lads out there, and they need to learn from this experience to take them to the World Cup.
You mentioned Gareth Bale, and this is an obvious question, and I know he himself has already come out and battered it into the long grass. But is there still life in the old dog yet when we look at Gareth Bale, when we look at particularly as well Aaron Ramsey? Are those two players who can still actually find the effort, the motivation, the spring in the step to lead Wales to a World Cup? Or do they need to look down the chain towards youth, or to combine those two?
I think you combine the two. I think they've still got another year or two left in them, and they need to pass their experience onto the younger ones. And that's what it's all about. It's not about the individual anymore. They're at a stage where they've done really well in their careers and all that, but they need to pass their experience to the younger generation. And I think, yeah, they might not be match winners every game, but what they're doing is passing on their experience, and maybe when they finish playing, then the younger ones can learn from that.
Right, Ian, I'm going to take you from Wales across the Severn Bridge to a country where, frankly, people are excited. It's buzzing. There is a lot of chatter right now. Think about it. The country overall, with Wembley, with more spectators, with the team doing well, all of a sudden, it feels as if the long days of winter have been well and truly dismissed. And when you look at that as an overall fabric of how the Euros have developed into the quarterfinal stage, my word, some of those results, England, Germany, Spain's game against Croatia, France against Switzerland, all of a sudden, the stage is set, the tournament's flying.
Yeah, I think so. If you asked me before this started, I would have said, who was getting the 4 teams? I would have said England, Italy, then I say France and Belgium. 3 of them will make it, and France are the ones that have been knocked out. So there's a place up for grabs there. That's the way I look at it. But when you get to the semi-final, it's all to play for. And England, being played at Wembley, will have the advantage.
I was about to say semi-finals and final at Wembley Stadium. England playing with this, I'm going to call it a pragmatic style. It's not flashy, but it is effective. Honestly, deep down, and I know there's the playful rivalry between Wales and England, but given the way, and we'll go into this in a bit more detail, perhaps in a couple of minutes' time, but in one sentence, the way it's panned out right now, do you see England making the final, in?
Why not? I think because they have world-class players. And I think so do Belgium, so do Italy, and so do France, but France have lost. So you look at it now. I watched I was at the Wales-Denmark game, and there was 14,000 at the game, and they were all Danish fans. There's been about maybe 100 Welsh fans, and that made a massive difference. And I think England have to use Wembley for their advantage. And with all the English supporters going there, I think that could be a major advantage to England. That's why I think England will make the final.
Talk goals, talk strikers. Few people better qualified than Ian Rush to comment on this. Explain to me the striker's mentality when you've gone a couple of games without a goal. You know you can do it, and there could be a whole absolute labyrinth, myriad world of factors. Are you getting the service? Is the bounce coming right for you? Are you wearing the right boots? Are you in the right mood? Or is it just a matter of time? Harry Kane, is that the whatever it was unblocked? And could he now go on a charge? And how will he be feeling having notched that second goal against Germany? Huge relief, I imagine.
Yeah, I think it's a huge relief, but at the end of the day, it's called a mental toughness. If top strikers, I said before the tournament started, Lukaku and Harry Kane would be on there for the Golden Boot because they take penalties. And once you score that goal, it's incredible. It's a mental toughness. Never be scared to miss. That's my motto is never be scared to miss. You can miss 10, and when you score the next one, everyone forgets about those you missed, and I think that's called a mental toughness. Because in the world have that mental toughness, and that's what Harry Kane does.
Fascinating answer that, Ian, because of course our very own Emil Heskey gave us a similar outlook, if you will, talking about that mental. Now that he's got one, and I'll go back to that phrase about unblocking. And now that we see that, for example, Ronaldo out of the tournament with his 5 goals, Benzema out of the tournament with his 4 goals, Patrick Schick out of the tournament with his 4 goals, could we, with potentially 3 games remaining, see Kane launch a charge to the Golden Boot?
Yeah, he has a chance. But I think I look at Lukaku, as you said now, for Belgium. He's up there as well. And as long as team that gets to the final, but no one have the top goal scorer. And I think Harry Kane is why not. No, there's no reason why they've got Ukraine in the next game. He could come on for that now. He just scored 3 goals and he's right back up there.
Well, a team that gets to the final needs style, but they also need substance. And much has been made of the way that England fans were even. The bookmakers.co.uk team were on the streets of London talking to supporters, particularly after the Czech Republic game. People were shaking their heads. They'd won the match. They hadn't conceded. But they were moaning a little bit, Ian, saying, we want more. We want Grealish. We want Sancho. We want Foden. We want Saka, whatever it might be. Now that Gareth Southgate has got them this far, does he, in your mind's eye, stick with this more solid formula, or does he release the handbrake against the Ukraine and throw in these attacking players and go for it?
Well, that's down to the manager. They have to make that decision at the end of the day. He's done so well so far, so I think we let him get on with it. So it's great when you're losing, and when you're winning, people still complaining. And for me, that's a good sign.
It is a good sign, and it's a good sign for the 8 teams that we're about to discuss now. I'm going to spin you through both sides of the draw for the quarterfinals. And if you'll give me your winner and your thinking behind the outcomes of these, starting off in Munich on Friday, and this is tough. And I know you've just mentioned Lukaku, but Belgium against Italy. Of course, we're going to lose a heavyweight here. How do you see this one here? Belgium, Italy.
Very close. I think Italy play it close. For me, I backed Italy to win the tournament. So I think the winners of this will get to the final. Simple as that. It could be who performs on the day. And I think, Belgium are a fantastic team. If Belgium don't get to the final now, they'll never get the final because everything's going for them at the moment. But I'm just think Italy defensively will be a little bit better. On the other side, we've got England, but sticking on the, if you will, the left-hand side of the draw, the other tie in St. Petersburg on Friday, Switzerland, who of course stunned the French, up against Spain, who've scored 10 goals in 2 games, and all of a sudden are moving like Spain. How do you see that one plotting out? Well, I think that's the opposite to Belgium-Italy game. So open of a game. Both teams, attacking-wise, are very good. So, again, it's incredible. Switzerland have done really well to get where they are. And Spain, they've got a good young side. Maybe experience, you might lack the experience, but they're scoring for fun. So I think this will be a game with a lot of goals in. And maybe, just as a guess as well, I would go for Spain, but only purely as a guess. So,
Italy-Spain semi-final to come. On the other side of the draw, you already told me why not when I asked you about England getting to the final. Therefore, I think we know your answer when we talk about Saturday in Rome, Ukraine against England. It's a kind-looking draw.
Yeah, I think England cannot ask for any more. It says Ukraine will be going for it because they've done well to get where they are. So it's like a free game for them because they've done really well. So, but I'm banking on England because they have too many world-class players, and I think England will get to. I think England will beat Ukraine. But I think if you're managing Ukraine, you're saying, listen, go out there and enjoy yourself. You've done your country proud already. There's nothing else you have to do. Go let enjoy themselves. And England have to be a little bit careful. But I'm banking on the England to get to the semis at least.
And lying in wait. And just like Belgium, Italy, this one I think is very, very hard to try and divide these two teams for so many reasons. But the Czech Republic against Denmark. Czechs against Denmark in one of your former stomping grounds this tournament, Baku. So they've got a long journey. The Danes on this crest of an emotional wave. Czechs, obviously, they've got the wonder goal scorer Schick with his 4 goals so far this tournament. How do you unravel this one, Ian? Very tricky.
Yeah, very tricky. I think, again, the Czech Republic have done well to get where they are. So for me, it's another wide open. And this is why I love this tournament. Now, things are opening out and it's getting exciting now. I think there'll be goals in that game as well. You know, it's just one of them where people should go out there. You've done better than expected. So I just think it's going to be a game with goals in. And I honestly, again, it's who performs on the day. When you look at it, it's anyone's game, that is. Denmark, for me, I watched them against Wales. If you scored against Denmark the first 20 minutes, that's okay. But as the game goes on, you'll see Denmark get more confidence. And when you get more confidence, they are a strong side. And soon, if Denmark score the first goal, they will win.
Therefore, Italy, Spain on one side of the draw. On the other, England against Denmark. You have hinted throughout this conversation, therefore, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Ian Rush, an Italy-England final on Sunday, the 11th of July, 2021. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct. I think if Belgium do perform on the day, it'll either be Italy-England or Belgium-England. I'm 100% going for England because they're playing at Wembley. You know, they've got the world-class players and anything can happen. But I'm going for Italy-England final.
And you tipped on the Bookmakers Co. UK pre-tournament preview show where you gave us chapter and verse and so many things that have played out over the last 2.5 weeks. And let's see, do you continue to nail the bullseye? But there'll be many, many unhappy Englishmen if Ian Rush's pre-tournament selection is borne out true. 11-1 shots Italy. Are you sticking with them to win Euro 2020?
Yes. I've looked at everything. And again, if it's Italy-England final or Belgium who performs on the day, but I think Italy, the way that they defend, and they've got players who can get you winning goals. So I am sticking with Italy. I hope maybe I'm wrong, but for the English fans. But if England gets to the final and lose, I still think that's the nation should be proud of because they're working their way up. They're getting better and better. They get the final win, great. But if they get to the final lose, you should still be proud of your nation because for me, England, that means England are still improving, getting ready for the World Cup.
I was about to say World Cup semi-finalists, Euro 2020 finalists, and still with a group of young, improving, dynamic, progressive players. Perhaps that would set them up for a World Cup win in Qatar.
100%. And I think England do have a chance in Qatar because it's going to be the month is going to be November, December. And they'll be 100% fit. People forget about when you play these Euros and the World Cup, it's at the end of a season. And when the English league is the hardest league in the world to play in, and it's the most demanding game to play in. So they have to go then and perform for the countries, and they get tired. And I actually believe England, when they play in November, December, the World Cup, they'll be at the peak fitness for me. And I think that's the reason why England, take this experience from them, whether they win the Euros or get the final, that means they're improving. And next year, when they come November, December, when they play in there, they'll be at the peak fitnesses. They've had the experience, and I think they could go a long way in the World Cup as well.
As ever, informative, forthright, opinionated. Ian Rush, exclusively for bookmakers.co.uk, says Sunday, July the 11th, an England-Italy final of Euro 2020 in Wembley Stadium and Forza Italia. Ian, thanks so much for being with us. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much.